And therefore, these events, these supernatural miracles, are designed to demonstrate on the pages of history that Jesus is God's king, that with the arrival of King Jesus, the kingdom has broken in amongst us. And the point is spelled out by Jesus in chapter 21. When will the kingdom have come? Oh, it's not going to come now, from now on, with signs and wonders, but it has come. It has been demonstrated. He is in the midst of you. Now, before we go any further, I want to spend just 2 or 3 minutes on this. And I want to say that this is not something we should be embarrassed about or shy about. And I want us to take courage that we should not be bulldozed or bullied by the bully boy tactics of the new atheists in the BBC and the Times and whatever other particular media give them airtime. Some of you may have heard the interview between Paxman and Dawkins the other evening on Newsnight. You can go online and listen to it if you want to. It wasn't so much an interview as a two-man presentation. Dawkins was there to advertise his new book, and Paxman, I have to say, was there to advertise his biblical ignorance. Throughout, they referred to the Bible and the events of the Gospels as make-believe and myth, so that these incidents recorded on the pages of Scripture were placed alongside fairies at the bottom of the garden, legends and myths from other religions, and the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft. I don't think he actually mentioned J.K. Rowling, but it was that sort of tone, as you can imagine. And Dawkins and Paxman both implied that those who recorded these events, those who witnessed them, and indeed anybody who currently believed in them, were unscientific, ignorant, uneducated peasants. The trouble is that that view of the New Testament is completely erroneous. None of this is written as myth. Read it for yourself. Luke records place names, people's names, contemporary historical events, eyewitnesses who can be identified by Luke's readers of the time, minor details that show that somebody had to have been there to see it. And we all know that myth and make-believe, legend and Odyssey, is deliberately vague about those sort of things. And with distance from the event, so detail becomes less and less specific. Indeed, Luke's Gospel is one of the most highly valued sources of ancient history there is available. In the history faculty in Cambridge, when I was there, we were told, or I was pointed to the history faculty and told, if you go there, they will tell you it's one of the most valuable sources of ancient history there is available. Luke himself was a doctor. Do you think that Luke was unaware of the fact that lepers in numbers like this didn't suddenly get cleansed like that? We looked at the widow of Nain on Sunday night in the service here, and I sought to point out to the congregation at the time that for Luke in his doctor's surgery, it was probably most unusual for a dead person to rise and have life again. Luke was himself a scientist, if you like, a doctor. Do you not think that he might have thought to himself, oh my goodness, this is most unusual, I wonder if it's actually true? As a piece of literature, this material is one of the finest and most closely crafted, sophisticated pieces of writing in the history of human writing. If we had time, I would show you how Luke has so carefully put it together. It's written by a great mind. In the closing moments of the interview, Paxman turned to Dawkins and said, quote, "What should we do with stupid people who continue to teach this to their children?" And his point was that anybody who continues to believe it as historical fact is plain stupid. There wasn't a readiness to look at the evidence or explore it in any depth, simply a view that if something supernatural cannot be explained by my scientific understanding, then my scientific understanding must be right, and the supernatural thing cannot possibly have happened, and therefore there can't be a God. Now, someone said to me yesterday that is the equivalent of beginning your experiment using your conclusion as the starting point. And the more the new atheists go on air, actually, as another person said to me at lunchtime yesterday, the better it is for us, because we begin to see how extraordinarily weak their position is. Another scientist said to me on Sunday morning, To disallow evidence on the basis it doesn't fit your conclusion is the equivalent of scientific fascism. Actually, as I was speaking on Sunday evening, I looked out across the congregation and I spotted two physicists with PhDs, one from Cambridge in quantum physics, one from Imperial College in mechanics, one neuroscientist with a PhD from York, another with a PhD in genetics. And I thought to myself, are these people really stupid? Is that the right way to describe them? To write off every person who's examined the evidence and come to a conclusion that it might be true as stupid, that goes beyond bad science. That begins to enter the world of pure bigotry and cultural arrogance that is most unattractive. So don't be shy. The king has broken into history. You can believe it. There is a fact on the table, numbers of facts. He himself rose from the dead, as we were seeing a couple of weeks ago. We don't need to be shy about it at all. And amidst the implosion of this current expression of the kingdom of man that we can see all around us, we have got a message that really matters.